rooms with very busy, very impatient clinicians, and they just tell me, is the dose okay? Yes, no. Just give me the answer.
That's right.
So and underpinning that kind of questioning was the assumption that I know what I'm doing, that I'm the expert.
Absolutely.
So it took a minute to get used to, it took a while to get used to that, but it gets better with time and experience. Just to share.
Yoga, let's take a few questions from the audience, and there are two questions that are somehow related. The first one is, how can we train our skills in supporting based on academic results? The second one is, what are the key components on early science focus on? One focus on cross, understand the domain of drug development.
Yeah. Let me open the chat maybe. Your voice was breaking up. I don't know if it's me or.
Want me to maybe
so
it's working better now?
Yeah. Which question are we looking at? Amit,
so
Taneja?
The first one, how can we train our skills in supporting this making in clin pharm based on pharmacometric results? And the third one, what are the key components on early scientists should focus on? One, focus on cross-functional opportunities to understand the full domain of drug development within an institute.
I see. Cross-functional is basically, let us say that you finished your core skills and knowledge training, the core set of skills. Then you want to have cross-functional, meaning, let us say, like Dawal was indicating, you have somebody from engineering, but now that person wants to understand the disease, aspects of a particular disease. Then they have to leave the engineering skills behind for that particular period and go work in the disease area. Be it in a clinical setting, shadowing somebody, or in a clinical department who do not do any modeling, but have to deal with patient selection or endpoint selection, or they're daily challenges. We have to insert ourselves into that group and be part of that group. That is how we cross-train. I hope that's the question, and I understood it correctly.
If the answer was not convenient, please retype a question.
Yeah. And the next question was what, Maria?
So the first question was, how can we train our skills in supporting decision-making in pharm based on pharmacometric results?
Yeah, how can we train ourselves? I think we had a discussion, right, with Kritika and Tawal. I hope that was helpful. For example, think about it this way. You want to master LC-MS, MS. You can't read a book. Maybe you have to read a book, but you still have to find a lab which has LC-MS, MS, and then request them to learn. That's how we do it. The same thing here. You have to find, quotes, a lab, an institution which has this LC-MS, MS called communication or business skills, where you can hone in on your business skills or soft skills, and then you go there and then do it. There are also courses for the soft skills. The courses are important. They give you a structure to think about. There are different approaches, styles. So it is important to go through that type of communication course. Most universities have it. You should avail that. But you have to insert yourself into an organization and with a goal of honing your soft skills and business skills, not more of your modeling skills.
And just one plug, I think ISOP also has this now mentoring group where, if you are a member of ISOP, you'll be able to find mentor or mentee, and we can match that. So if you think really need to be mentored in certain area, feel free to reach out to the mentoring group. We'll be able to help you find a good mentor.
Once again, just to share my experience, this is less of a question. it helped me get better at making decisions. Once I understood that decision science was its own thing, there are lots of resources and potentially some training courses that can help with that. But making decisions is not something we're trained for academically in grad school necessarily, or sometimes not even something we appreciate on the job. But it's its own science, it's its own skill, and there are resources in literature and books to learn more about that.
So I'm sorry, Mariam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I lost the internet there for a few minutes. I guess you guys might have noticed that. So I don't know if this question got asked or not, but first, thanks for the great presentation, Joga. Obviously, this is a topic that will live on as long as we have technical expertise in trying to make decisions in all industries and in all research and development. But, you know, for junior scientists and postdocs, they often don't have the opportunity to take courses that help them with soft skills. And they may have a very limited budget to be able to do that. This may have been asked while I was off, I don't know, but are there any, you know, top 3 courses, if you only can take one a year or one every 2 years or one during your postdoc, top 3 courses that they could take that would allow them to start developing these skills, like something on LinkedIn or something available in general?
Yeah, so I think I'm glad you asked this question, and it just occurred to me. I want to distinguish between a couple of things. There are courses like Toastmasters and others that folks recommend. I want to distinguish that I am not talking about that type of communication. I'm not talking about enunciation, pronunciation, ability to stand up, talk. I'm not talking about that kind of conference. I don't think you meant it that way either. So what we're talking about is strategic communication. How do you do the homework? How do you plan for, you know, what the message? How do you show the key graphs, key tables, and, you know, to support your deductive, you know, reasoning? That, unfortunately, you have to work with somebody in that capacity. So, for example, there's a new graduate student, Tarek, you are in a position who can teach a graduate student or a postdoc. So they have to spend time with you. They have to spend time with, you know, Marian or Kritika and who on a daily basis you have to deal with this with interdisciplinary teams. So they have to learn from the where the action is. This, I don't know if we can do a course or it's not possible, in my opinion. We can have some preparatory maybe, but they have to get it hands-on, like surgery. This is like surgery. I can read a book eating my, you know, popcorn, but I cannot cut anybody up just because of that, right? I have to go to the operating room. I have to be with somebody. I have to cut it open. Maybe I'll make mistakes. I show them. That is the only way to get this experience.
So I agree that that's critical. So trial and error and mentorship, obviously very important towards developing the right skills to communicate, you know, your pharmacometric work in an effective way. But perhaps learning, you know, a style of communication, you know, ways of presenting information so that people can easily grasp it. Even if it's about a different topic, eventually you'll be able to translate it to your technical subject. So for pharmacometrics.
That's correct. That's right. I mean, again, we draw analogies to, for example, medical training. The difference between a PhD training and a medical student is a medical student spends anywhere from 2 to 7 years in the field seeing patients and such. If they don't complete that 2 years, they won't even get a degree. They won't even be qualified to write a licensure exam. They spend time with the patients. They're, you know, hands-on. We don't have the equivalent of that. If we want our graduates to be working in a drug development setting, there is no requirement, nor provisions, opportunities for our graduates to work in a drug development environment before they graduate. So that is something, and we have so many scientists, so many companies, and there is a dearth for clinical pharmacologists and pharmacometricians and such. We should be coming up, we could come up with a program, even if it is for 3 to 5 companies who can chip in and then say, I'm willing to take 1 or 2 students every summer. And that focus will be only to, for communicating to influence, meaning our business skills. We just focus only on that. You learn your modeling skills in school. You're good there. So maybe some program like that, maybe, I don't know. ISOP can coordinate that.
Maybe we can create a metaverse, where things are really more tangible. And you can have examples based on previously, like if FDA allows that, you can go to BLA documents and DA documents, present the data which is in public domain, and prompt the course taker to communicate the answers. So something like that could be possible. But you're right, it will require a lot of people to contribute, but it's a good initiative. Maybe ISOP can begin.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. I'm conscious of the time. I think we've run a little bit over. I want to thank our Joga, our speaker today, as well as all of our panel members and attendees, especially those of you who raised your hand and asked a question. Sorry if we didn't get to everyone, but we hope that you'll join us for other webinars we have planned in the coming months. And there will be further information coming out about that in the next few weeks. So thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joga. Great job.
Take care.
Recording stopped.